We are live in the Empowered Mom Studios again. That's 3 days in a row. And, I'm just on fire. And the reason for that, of course, is because I'm working on my book, No More Mommy Martyr, which is basically pointing out all the ways that moms get the short end of the stick and women who want to have children but have been kind of warned away from it because we've been told women who are single and childless are the happiest ones, right? But, we can't ignore the fact that there's some of us that we want a baby. We just don't want to sacrifice ourselves on the altar of motherhood. So I'm kind of like the avatar of sovereign motherhood because I don't play the mommy martyr game. I never did. I tried. I really did try. Like there was a point during my motherhood experience where people are like, well, you're not doing what a mom is supposed to do. You're being a bad mom. And I kind of internalized it. I mean, I had a category 5 partner. You can only survive that so long before you start to wonder maybe it is me. And my generation, we're kind of the older millennials. So we grew up where we could spot the players, we could spot the BS, but we couldn't spot the lesser of those. So we didn't spot negging as easily. And we had also been told that the smart, pretty girls tend to not get the guy because we have to turn into some hot bombshell in order to actually land him. Instead of recognizing that actually, that guy's out of our league. So last night I was watching Buffy with Michaela again. Like we do it all the time now because she is 9 and she's getting into that age bracket where if she's going to watch those shows, she's watching them with me. And the reason she's watching them with me is because I want her to hold on to her sacred rage. I do not want her to lose that. I want her to be able to recognize the BS in the messages that are being marketed to teen girls and tween girls so that she can really see it and understand it. Because it's still going on today. I still see it out there. And it's actually gotten a lot worse. And, a lot of the women that are waking up to it, like we're calling it out, but then we're called bitter and nasty and, people just want to keep nagging on us. And, there's a lot of music that's coming out now that's kind of showing that sacred rage. And, there's also a lot of comments that I get when I'm reflecting out into society and not playing the mommy martyr game, where I will really get torn to shreds. Like there are lots of people out there that they're like, oh, well, she's just a fake empowerment person and she's saying condescending stuff and, she doesn't have very many followers. So therefore that means that nobody's really listening to her. And it's like, you do understand that that's not how you can actually tell if somebody's saying something that resonates or if they just bought a whole bunch of followers and you don't know. Like, there's a lot of people that watch my stuff that are not following me, but they're watching my stuff. And I look at my watch counts on my videos. I'm like, oh, okay, people are watching. But I'm not just tracking for that. Every once in a while, I do get a comment. And I'm like, it's resonating. And, there's one person, my true love, and, he didn't have a whole massive amount of comments on his stuff either. And at the same time, it was always inspiring. Like he's impacted so many lives. I don't even know if he realizes just how many lives he's impacted. I mean, he knows he impacted my life. And I've told that to him many times. It's just when you only look at numbers, you don't see. And when you only look at what people are outwardly telling you as a woman, you often think that your fire is too much or that you're not doing enough in your life. So the question is your fire too much or not enough? And a lot of the self-development stuff out there is geared towards those people that really do need to look internally to recognize that it's actually them, not the outside. But women, that's not our path. So inside of No More Mommy Martyr, I'm actually warming up right now because my favorite teacher in the whole wide world also, he warms up before he does his professional stuff. So this is kind of like what I do, is like this video journal, this vlog, or whatever you want to call it, is really me warming up so that I can then go in and, oh my gosh, it is my cousin, my most fiery, awesome cousin. Hello, Veronica. I love you so much. So the fire that you really want to cultivate, especially before you settle down and have kids, is to recognize that you are your own best expert. You need to know your worth, and your fire is your superpower. So there's a book that I was reading, and I've been reading it on and off, and it's called, actually I'll show it to you. It's called Rage Becomes Her, and it also kind of goes into the idea of the sacred feminine rage. Because, I mean, Veronica can even attest to this. I'm a little bit of a spitfire. I always have been. And she kind of always followed me along with that, too. Because, you know, the rage makes us strong. It really does. When the guys would nag on me, instead of thinking, oh, it's me, I was like, how dare you? Like, you think you're all that? Like, I don't think so. Like, I'm not putting up with that crap. And now I do that in the comments of reels and things, and I'm in the birth space, and I'm also speaking out against what women are basically told, oh, it's my fault. I raised my expectations too high. It's me. And it's like, no. That advice of it's you, it's your fault, that belongs to those people who won't look at themselves. It does not belong to women. Like, we don't need to do that. What we need to do is we need to recognize that actually, maybe it's them. Maybe it's the system that we've been under. But, you know, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be nice. We're supposed to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And because we were taught to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, that is where we got trapped again. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little tiny history lesson of why it's so important and why the sacred feminine rage is actually the most beautiful, magnificent thing that I am bringing popcorn and marshmallows to, and watching as women rise and roast the structures, and why those of us who were internalizing and thinking, oh, I need to be softer, I need to be kinder. No, we don't. No, we don't. And those moms who are like, oh, well, you know, my birth didn't go the way I wanted, and it was me, it's my problem. I raised my expectations too high, and the system saved me. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. The system actually manufactured your trauma. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. The system manufactured your trauma. And if you aren't aware of both sides of the dichotomy, then what happens is that you're more easily sold. The same thing is like the system manufactures single mothers. We think that we are finding our prince, and then it turns out that he is incompetent, and he's weaponizing his incompetence, and he actually didn't value us, and he decided to downgrade with somebody else because we weren't doing what he wanted. And then we think, hey, but I was hot, I was smart. But he was always intimidated by your smartness. He was always intimidated by your hotness. He knew that if you went out and you knew your full value, that what was going to happen was you were going to take one look at him and be like, so if you're going to stay with me, you need to rise to my level. And they can't meet it, or they won't meet it. So you need to hold out for the best. The same thing in our jobs. We're told that we need to just stay where we are and stay at a certain level. And when we try to rise too high, they try to smack us down, right? And then when women start their own businesses, we're told, well, you're more likely to fail. Well, I have another book for you that you are going to want to check out. We Should All Be Millionaires. I mean, I started reading this one way back in 2020, before I even found my community and met my true love. It was like, oh my gosh, like, you're right. Women need to get super freaking rich. We need to be millionaires, because then we can vote with our wallets. the whole idea that you're supposed to not have any rage, especially when you become a mother, is how they keep you where they want you. Here's a little secret about our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers. Do you know that a lot of them were self-medicating? Yep, a lot of them were self-medicating. And it wasn't always substances. Sometimes it was something like shopping. Shopping can be an addiction because it's a dopamine hit. I kind of started to figure that out when I was out there, like I was feeling kind of off, and then I'm like, oh, well, when in doubt, go shopping. I mean, I was raised in that. It was like, when in doubt, go shopping. When sad, go shopping. When you are bored, go shopping. It was always shopping, shopping, shopping. So I grew up in that. But at the same time, as I got older, I realized it's like, now I have all this stuff and I don't actually need all this stuff. I mean, yeah, it's fun to go shopping, but I want to do it intentionally. And then that is when I stopped my shopping addiction, first of all, out of necessity, because my partner at the time was spending all the money on himself, so there was none left for me. I couldn't really buy anything for myself. I was buying for the kids, but even then I was looking at their wardrobes and I was looking at their toys and like, I don't have anywhere to put any more of this stuff. So I had to find a new way to love on my kids that didn't take money, and it didn't take me shopping all the time for them. And then I started to become more intentional, but then that also had me looking, it's like, what was I filling in that void? What was I really doing? Was I doing it because I needed something, or was it because I was trying to look on the outside for something that would make me happy? So instead of shopping, I started creating. I started writing my stories. I would write angry things as well, like sacred rage, and then I would feel better from that. I'd create from my sacred rage. In fact, there's a painting that I have. You can't really see it, but it's like this little fox coming out of the fire. And I'd drawn it, like it had just been a drawing for a very long time and sketched in pencil. And then what I'd done is I had colored it in around the time that my former partner had been caught on Tinder. And he was going to leave me. Multiple times he tried and he kept saying, I don't love you anymore. And I'm like, dude, you have the hottest woman that you could possibly get, especially now that you are starting to devalue, like, there was a lot of things that were wrong. Like, he was addicted to substances and he was getting older and he wasn't taking care of himself. And he looks, he looks way older than I look. And he's 2 years older than me. So I'm looking at that and I'm looking at me and I'm looking at the kids. And it's like I had kind of dropped my hotness for a very long time because he didn't like me in red and he didn't like me dressed up and I was just in my yoga pants. But even then I was still pretty damn attractive and I was always very smart and I'm very resourceful. And everything I was creating at the time was like, people were saying, wow, this is valuable. And I didn't see it because of the fact that I was still thinking, oh, well, other people are not happy about what I'm doing, so maybe it's me. But then there came the point where I gave birth to my son, and this sacred rage of having that birth not go the way I wanted, knowing that it wasn't me, I was holding on to that. And no matter how many times people were like, well, you know, it could have been worse and everything, and just be happy you have a healthy baby, and why are you going out there and speaking your message so brashly? And I'm like, you know what? Because I'm pissed off. And I have a right to be pissed off. And you know, I see this a lot where moms are like, you know, I didn't get the birth I wanted and I'm sad about that, but then I remembered I have a healthy baby, so that's all that matters. And they gaslight themselves. No. Your feelings, if you realize you've been screwed over, your sacred rage is needed. Okay? Your sacred rage is needed. You need to recognize, oh, he cheated on me. string of expletives and then recognize that it's like, it wasn't you. It was never you. Okay? It was never you. If you were in integrity and you were giving everything and the world still screws you over, it was not you. It was not setting a boundary, which is not your fault. Because that is what we were taught as little girls. Oh, be nice. He just likes you. He punched you because he likes you. He teases you because he likes you. She's just teasing you because she's jealous. Well, yeah. And why? Why? Because she sees you as competition. Because she knows that you are going to take something from her because she now has fear. It's all fear. It's seriously fear. You know what the most beautiful thing was? Like the most beautiful friendship I'd ever seen is the fact that Taylor Swift and Beyonce, I mean, think about that. Kanye West gets up on that stage and Taylor's accepting her award and she's still young and she's still in her earlier era. She hasn't hit her villain era yet. And Kanye just takes the mic and he's like, well, Beyonce had the best video of all time. And Beyonce's like, what? No, there's enough room on the stage for both queens. And she takes Taylor under her wing. And now they're constantly propping each other up. You know, if women started propping each other up instead of fighting against each other, if we started recognizing, hey, yeah, she said something that kind of sounded snooty when she said that that's not what birth could be, or she said that I'm settling in my relationship and I deserve better. Like, how dare she point out that my guy is being a jerk? Like, I mean, how dare another woman say, hey, you deserve better and you were screwed over and I know you don't want to see this, but seriously, girl, you are a queen and you're taking scraps like a peasant and I'm not okay with that. But they're like, well, who does she think she is to be all shiny and everything? She must think she's so much better than me. It's like, no. No, that's what they want you to think. That's what the system that was built against us wants you to think. That we have to pit each other against. Like, no. So, I mean, I don't know if you've seen Bridgerton, but season 3, Cressida Cowper kind of has this friendship with Eloise. And it's, on the outside, you're like, what? Huh? How the hell did they become friends? Like, that makes no sense. But then when you really see it, you realize, oh, Cressida was never actually mean. She was taught to be mean and cutthroat because she needed to get out of her toxic situation. But then she's like, you know what? I'd rather be ruined than actually go into this. Like, I don't actually want to marry somebody. I want to be free. So she tried to use Penelope's whole Lady Whistledown thing, but it backfired. I still hope that Cressida gets a happy ending, though I know that the show probably wouldn't explore that because they've got their own way of doing things. But when you think about that, when you really look at what's going on and how women are being trained at an early age, that other women are their competition, and that we are all basically thinking that we're fighting ourselves and fighting each other, and we're not fighting what really needs to be fought. So right now in my book, No More Mommy Martyr, I have a chapter 6, and chapter 6 is kind of done. Like, I just have to edit it. And it's for those women that are ambitious who do eventually want to have a family. But they have seen what happens to women who settle down and have a family, and then the man messes up and she's now suddenly a single mother, and she doesn't want that, and she doesn't want to be stuck in a marriage that doesn't actually fulfill her and wait for the kids to be grown and then give up all of her dreams. Like, she's got ambition, she's got drive, she's creative. It's kind of like how I see my beautiful cousin, because, you know, she is just this amazing, ambitious, fiery woman that is just, I'm just so proud of her. So Veronica, if you're still watching, I love you to pieces. I love what you're doing, and anybody who is saying anything negative about you, you just send them my way so I can rip into them, or maybe send them this video and say, yeah, well, you know what? My bestest cousin ever loves me, and she is standing for me, so I don't really care about the haters. Not that you need it, because like you're powerful. But the thing is that I really want you to understand is that this chapter is like, it's huge because it's a program. It's a book with a program within it that if you wanted to go through and actually do the questions and do the searching of it, then you would come to your own sacred rage, because it's all about aiming for your dreams, what's in your life right now that's not working, and then how can you get more of what you want, and how can you avoid those nightmares, because you're not yet a mother. You might not have even found a partner yet, or you have one, but it might not be the right one. And if it's not the right one, you can leave them. You'll realize, oh wait, this isn't it. They're just pretending to be, and you'll be able to leave, and you'll never have to deal with the mess that I ended up dealing with, or what a lot of women deal with. And the chapter I'm writing now is the one for mothers, because mothers need a different take. Once you become a mother, it's no longer aiming for your dreams and thinking about all the things that are working in your life. Everything is, oh, this is fine. Oh no, I shouldn't complain. I mean, I'm a mom, so I need to just like, this is my shame, this is my guilt, and I just need to deal with that. And nothing's wrong on the outside. I mean, I can't really blame anybody else but myself, and I need to change. And no. The path for moms is different. So this is kind of my precursor to what's going to be in chapter 7 of my book on the sacred rage. And that is that first we're going to look at everything in the life as it is now. Okay? And the thing that you're like, oh, this is fine. But then you're going to be asked the questions like, well, how close was that to the actual vision that you had before you had kids? What dreams did you end up giving up before you had kids? What is your relationship like compared to what you envisioned when you were dreaming of marrying that guy and having that family? What else has come up for you now that you've actually given birth? Because giving birth in itself awakens you to more. I didn't know I was going to be a speaker. I knew I wanted to write a book someday, but I had no idea that I would ever be on camera speaking or creating a YouTube channel or creating an empire of influence. I had no idea about any of that. And I had no idea that I'd become an advocate for natural birth either. Like, that was all stuff that came to me after I gave birth to my son and my sacred rage came out. So then you have that moment, you go through that portal maybe more than once, and you keep going through and recognizing more things that you want to do. You have children now. So the things that you tolerated in the past are no longer as tolerable when you have kids. Because then you're also going to be asked the questions, do you want that life for your kids? Especially if you have a daughter. Like, I was looking at my little girl, I was looking at my former partner, her dad, just like how he would talk about women. And I'd be like, don't talk to her like that. Don't talk about women like that. She doesn't need to be internalizing that. And our son doesn't need to be hearing that about his sister and about his mother. And he doesn't need to be hearing that about what he should be expecting of women. Like, no, like, this is not what I want. I do not want my son to think that mom is here as his ever indentured servant who is going to wait on him hand and foot. No, he's going to learn how to make his own damn sandwich, and he's going to make it at 6 years old. And I had trained him before that. But my former partner, he was like, no, mom's supposed to do all the work. I'm like, I don't do mommy martyr crap. You did not get that woman. You did not get June Cleaver. I am ambitious and I'm going to go for my dreams, and I'm also going to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of my kids. And he's like, but you're not doing it the way I want you to. And it's like, I don't care if you want me to do it a certain way. I'm not your damn Stepford wife. Like, no. And then he went and downgraded on me. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You had me and you went and downgraded. And I know that you like hit the fruit that was like low hanging. It was on the ground. I mean, no offense to her, but like she had a lot of work that she needed to do. And like, I knew where I was on that like actual hierarchy. And I'm like, you know what? Like, if you're going to do that, like, what the hell was I doing for the last 11 years? Like, what the hell? I'm going to start focusing on myself. House fire happens. I'm building my brand. I'm building my business in 2019. And then in 2020, I'm like, okay, I need to now figure out these skills that I was ignoring. I need to learn sales. I need to learn marketing. I need to learn how to create these courses. I need to know how to actually write a book that's going to sell. I need to learn self-publishing, because I mentioned this in another video. I like to edit my own stuff. And the reason is, again, because of the sacred rage and sacred fire. If you let somebody else edit something for you and you don't fully know what their values are, they may take out the very things that your audience would most resonate with. They'd say, it's too much. That's too much fire. You'll alienate people. You can't do that. Well, who am I alienating? Am I alienating the people pleasers? Am I alienating those who are benefiting from these moms not having their sacred rage? Am I alienating those that I honestly don't care if they're upset? They can be mad because they're doing harm? Because if that's the case, oh well. Oh well. That's like, oh, you don't want to say that thing because you'll piss off the narcissist. Yeah, you're going to piss off the narcissist, and then they're going to drop their mask, and then everybody's going to see who they really are. Like, seriously, think about it. They're going to drop the mask for everybody to see them. And then you're like, whoa, that's who was behind the mask? Like, you were right all along. It's like, yeah, I know I was right all along. You didn't see it because they were playing the victim. They were saying that I was the crazy one, but now you see it. I mean, there's people that are now seeing what's going on and like, no, Carly's not crazy. Carly knows exactly what she's doing. Carly is actually saying a lot of things that resonate. And, you know, there's some people that just have to go through and they have to see that. So my book, my first one, is like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And No More Mommy Martyr is much the same. It's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I've woven in a lot of other things into this as well. And the first time I actually got really in touch with my sacred rage outside of birth was with this one. I know it's backwards, but Women Who Run with the Wolves. Every woman needs to read this book. I know it's dense. I know there's a lot in here. Take it bites at a time, but like How You Eat an Elephant is one bite at a time. And this book, you need to read this book and read it multiple times because you're going to get different insights at different points. I love this book. It is like, basically I've taken No More Mommy Martyr and I've woven a lot of concepts within what I kind of got with Women Who Run with the Wolves, including fairy tale analogies, to basically show just how powerful we really are and how we need to tap into that sacred rage. So the moms are basically looking at like what's working in our lives. What dreams did we give up? And then it's like, okay, now I want you to look at that again. Look at those two things again. And I want you to really see, what has this cost you? And what could it continue to cost you if you don't change course? Until they get to that moment where it's fine is no longer fine, but instead they look at that and they have that sacred rage and they're like, this is not fine. I'm not okay. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I'm going for my dreams. I'm going to start carving out pieces of my own life. And I'm going to do it, no apologies. And either my partner's going to rise or they're going to fall away. Either people are going to rise to meet me or they're going to fall away. But I am no longer internalizing this guilt. I'm no longer internalizing this shame. And then if they become a single mother, for whatever reason, they no longer internalize that guilt and shame of being a single mother, trying to do everything. Instead, they become very intentional. They rise up from the ashes, and that's going to be chapter 8. So, I mean, yesterday I said that chapter 8 was going to be the glass slipper method. It's actually going to be chapter 9. I kind of goofed on that because, you know, I have so many chapters and I might add more. I might have an entire chapter on the villain era and then also have the glass slipper, because you do need that sacred rage. Okay? We cannot be tempering our fire anymore. We cannot be looking to the outside and giving everything the benefit of the doubt, because that has been keeping us stuck for so long. You know it. You know what I'm talking about, okay? How many times were we told growing up, make sure you get a good job. Make sure that you go to college. Make sure that you find somebody who actually loves and supports you. Don't go with some loser. And don't just go for the jock, because the jock is going to be the one with the beer belly in the next several years. Go for the nice guy. But, you know, the system was still rigged. The game was still rigged against us. We still fell into those traps. And we fell into those traps because one thing is that the moms and grandmothers and everything, they still internalized a lot of that sacred rage. They tried to help us as best they could, but they did not tap into their sacred rage. And you know what I'm talking about. Go look at how they are looking at their lives. There are some women that are just, they're seen as angry, but they have a lot of sense to it. At the same time, they also have a lot of shame and guilt, so their words come off more harsh. I'm constantly tracking my integrity. I'm constantly tracking, is my heart open? If my heart is open when I'm sharing, as it is now, then I'm like, okay, so I'm saying an uncomfortable truth and my heart is open. So as long as my heart is open, I can see what's going on with those women that come after me. Like, obviously, the one that is like saying that I'm snooty for speaking on how natural birth is like what you want to be aiming for. And she's like, well, how dare you say that? I tried natural birth and it didn't work for me, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but did you really have a natural birth? Or did you have the preservative-laden frozen dessert version of it? Because you have to recognize what's real and organic and what was fabricated to make it look like it. Did you really marry a nice guy? Or did you marry the one that got really good at manipulating? Because, you know, my ex did not show up like Gaston. He did not show up like some chauvinistic pig. I never would have gone for the chauvinistic pig. But, you know, there's an episode of Buffy, and it's season 2, and it's called Reptile Boy. And in this episode, basically what happens is it's a cautionary tale of teenage girls do not go to frat parties. Like, that was the idea. Teenage girls do not go to frat parties and do not let some guy sweet talk you into having alcohol, because you're going to, well, in this case, get fed to a giant snake monster. It's not lost on me that it's a giant snake monster. Okay? However, the message, like I taught my daughter that too. I'm like, okay, do you see these two guys? Richard Anderson, he's this like rich, he thinks he's God's gift to women, and Cordelia is falling all over him because of course it's Anderson Cosmetics and college guys are just so awesome. And I'm not actually listening to a word he says. I'm just going ha 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 and just doing the Dr. Debbie thing. Like, Dr. Debbie says this and Dr. Debbie says that, and I'm just going to attract this guy, not recognizing that Richard Anderson is a pompous jerk. So then she brings Buffy over, and of course Buffy sees right through that crap, and he's like, hey, gorgeous, and she's like, I'm so not interested, and she walks away. But Tom, who's actually the dangerous one, he shows up, Like he's the other guy in the car. And he's like, I'm so sorry for my friend. I mean, he's just a complete idiot. And I completely apologize for him. And Buffy kind of lowers her glasses, or like her sunglasses. And she's like, oh, yeah, this one seems real. He seems sweet. But really, he's not. Really, it's an act. And the deeper you go in, it's like he's playing up this role where they have the pompous jackass that she's not interested in. And then there's Tom, who's the sweet one, who's apologizing for his friend's behavior. But really, he's the one who's the leader, who is sacrificing everybody to the giant snake monster. And you really have to be careful with that. And I didn't see it. And I also didn't see how Angel really, that relationship was problematic, okay? Like, first of all, he was 26 when he died. And he's going after a 16-year-old. I don't care that Buffy is wiser beyond her years. She's still 16. And he's 26. What the hell is a 26-year-old doing around a 16-year-old? Why isn't he attracted to women his own age? Why is he so attracted to Buffy, besides the fact that she's strong? Well, it's because he sees himself as weak. That's why. And, you have to really ask yourself, is it love or is it something else? And, there are people that are attracted to younger women and women that are attracted to younger men. I'm not saying that they're all predators, but I am saying you have to ask, well, what is it that they actually see in you? Because there's a lot of them. I mean, you see the podcast bros out there, and they're like, you want a younger woman because then she's easier to train. And I'm like, you do understand women are seeing right through you, bro. Like, you do understand that. And I say bro in the sense of lowercase, not capitals. Because I call every guy my brother, except for my true love, or my dad, or grandpa, or whatever, depending on their age. And, there's the ones that are deserving of capitalism in their name. And then there's the ones that are definitely lowercase because they just don't have the right energy. And it's a thing. It's a thing that I do. So really recognize that the game was rigged against us. So if you're feeling a little bit pissed off now and you're like, wait a minute, I remember when that happened and I thought it was me, and wait a minute. Yeah, okay? Hold on to that. Hold on to that sacred rage. Because, on the other side of the fire is the thing that you want the most, okay? So in my sacred rage, what this has allowed me to do is now this is where I create from. So I create from part sacred rage and part heart. So my sacred rage allows me to then feel the full extent of the emotions and what it's doing for others and what it's doing to women. And I'm like, I don't want that for anybody else. So I'm going to go create something. I'm going to go speak on it. I'm going to go make a new book because I sat here and I was reading this mom book and it's like supposed to be empowering. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait a minute. This is more of that mommy martyr bullshit. That's what this is. And I'm not putting up with it. Like, I guess there needs to be a different book. And I haven't seen anything around, so I guess I'm writing another book. So that's what I've been doing, is writing another book. And you can do the same thing. I mean, my entire business came up from Sacred Rage and my Sacred Heart. Because I was like, I'm pissed off and I'm going to take my power back. And once I did that, I mapped it out. And then I taught other women how to do that. Because I'm like, I'm not satisfied just doing this for me. I want to make sure that other moms don't get screwed over too. Because I would listen to my friends who would tell me what they had to go through. I'd listen to my clients and they were telling me these stories that I was angry for them. They're sitting there and they're crying and they're telling me this. And I'm like, I'm waiting, I'm watching their tears. And then I allow them to have their sacred rage. Because it's either you have your sacred rage and then you start crying, or you start crying and then get to your sacred rage. You have to go through it. You can't be like, well, there's no use crying about it, and I guess I just need to just bury that down and be grateful. No, 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 no. Feel the whole range of your feelings. Because once you do, you know what was really important to you. You know what you're not going to let slip from your fingers. I went after my true love with all the fire because I knew. I was like, I am not giving up on him. Ever. Ever. No, no, no. That man is like, he needs me by his side and I need him by my side, and I am going to have him because what we can do together is going to be like the most magical, like powerful, like power couple ever. And the world needs us together. Like the world will be clapping for us together. Maybe not the ones that like the world the way it is and prefer to keep putting people under their boot, but you know, again, are you going to root for the good guys or the bad guys? Right? No, no. So I knew. And I knew the same thing, like when I was being told over and over that I had to give up my business to keep my ex. And I'm like, are you telling me that I have to give up the thing that lights me up, that is going to do good in this world, that is already helping so many women? You're telling me I have to give that up to stay with you? Bye, boy. Never give up your dreams. Never settle. And tap into your sacred rage. That's the message. So now I am going to go and have some lunch and spend a little bit of time with my little girl. And she's a spitfire. I mean, I'm just so proud of her. She's everything that I wanted to be when I was a little girl, but was told was too much and not enough. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you are just like the most amazing little girl in the whole wide world. In fact, I even have a little bit of a tribute to her inside my book. Like there's a whole part about where I'm talking about how she's fiery and she will cuddle up to me 1 minute and then like chew me out the next. And I love all pieces of her. I love every part of her. And besides, my cat is meowing at the door, so I gotta let her go. So I love you. Go tap into that sacred rage and, you know, ignore the haters. Seriously, just ignore the haters. Because, you know, you have to ask yourself, why are they hating? Yeah. Ask yourself that one. Because, you know, there's a lot of really, really angry men out there right now. And there's a lot of really powerful women that are absolutely thriving, even in conditions where people keep trying to stomp them back down. And we're not going back down. Instead, we're creating songs and we're creating our own podcasts. And there's a few men out there that are also calling out this system, this culture that we were kind of manipulated into for a very long time. So, I mean, I'm just bringing the popcorn and the marshmallows. This is awesome. Go ahead and roast me. I don't care. I'm toasty warm. I'm used to the fire. All right? I rise up from the ashes like the phoenix. And to my beautiful cousin, if you are still watching, I love you. Stay in your sacred rage. Stay in your power. And, you know, my love languages bug me. So if you found resonance with this and you want to reach out, you know, the door is always open to those who I love and adore. So, I love you. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.